Mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mic test. 1, 2, 3. Hey, random ladybird. You don't hear the music right now? Goodness, it sounds so loud to me. Let me just change the song really quick. Might just be my headphones turned way up. Okay, cool. Just want to make sure at least it's coming through. Fantastic. It's almost time for another weekly Dungeon Alchemist map-making show. I hope you all have had an amazing weekend so far. It's amazing to be here, and I'm excited to be back. Swedish Cook, hello. Random Ladybird, Atlam, Asmodeus, all here already. I'm very excited that we're already filling up on all our different stream platforms. I just wanted to make y'all aware we're not live on TikTok again today because I still haven't heard anything back on as to why that was happening. So I'm going to wait until they fix it. So anyway, man, there were so many good maps. I spent probably 4 or 5 hours trying to pick a winner last night and this morning. And like, honestly, there was a lot of really good maps. And I was a little torn on who to pick, I'm not gonna lie. Welcome back, Anani. Yeah, you definitely called it, Asmodeus, with your message in Discord. So, excuse me. My throat is still a little bit tender, but it's getting much better, okay? So I may from time to time, clear my throat or drink some water or something. So I'm sorry if that's happening. Now I will say this, we had 10 maps, 10 entries, 10 cartographers entered this damn challenge. I will do my best to feature all of them, okay? But remember, the Damn Challenge segment has been kind of shrunk down. However, in speaking with Win this weekend with this last week with a meeting with him, I have been given, kind of a little bit more latitude in extending segments or shortening other ones if I need to. So that's good. Before they were a little bit more rigid. So now that's not the case. Anyway, so for Damn news, new biome, upcoming objects, and variant UI, which I will showcase momentarily. The Damn Challenge theme is shop, which there are so many good shops, as we were just discussing, or at least shop-themed maps. I just want to say thank you to everyone that basically participated in this, whether it was, a map you submitted or someone's assets, used in a map. And I do love seeing all the shout outs and love to our various creators. Hello, Chim. Hello. Welcome back. Speaking of news, a little bit of news I'll share actually when we get to the news segment that's surprise. Remind me of it, okay? The surprise news I have for you. Okay, following the Damn Challenge segment, which we will showcase the maps and try and pick a new theme. We have Dungeon Alchemist Q&A, where I have a whole list of questions from Steam still I need to dive into, and then we'll answer questions from the stream first. Try and get as many from each if we can. So if you have any support inquiries, need guidance in your map making, or just kind of relatively new to our community and want to understand it better, that's the time to ask your questions, is during that segment. So please, write them down, save them, and we'll cover them then. Not yet, Anani. The workshop segment, we will be just covering tokens. It's been brought to my attention that some of you would like to discuss assets on the workshop, and I think tokens are a big part of that. So we'll show them and kind of cover, what kind of tokens are available and how many and what you can do with them. Finally, the damn feature segment, if there's enough time for it. Last week I wanted to cover this, and I didn't get enough time to. We barely got to dive into it before we ran out of time. Cameras and perspectives. So if there is time, I'd like to get into it more. If not, we'll slide it to the next stream. My D&D session is tomorrow, so not happened yet. Very soon. Oh, no worries. No worries. It's just, hasn't happened yet. So can't really share much. That being said, let's dive into our news segment, shall we? Hey, can you see me? Here I am. Hope you're having an amazing weekend thus far. Welcome back, everyone. If you weren't here for our little intro and itinerary segment, my name is Mac. I'm the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. So if this is your first time to the stream, welcome. If this is your 100th or whatever amount of time to the stream, welcome back. We've covered the itinerary and what we're going to be discussing during the stream today. This map here, by the way, is a map we've been working on Mapmaker Monday. It is a kind of a pit stop, last kind of like a rest stop kind of shop, basically a general store at the edge of like a vast Badlands desert. So it's like the only place for hundreds of miles. And that's kind of what we're working on Monday. Moving on from that, we're going to get into our news segment. So I've got some stuff to showcase to you. Hey, Sean, welcome to the stream. Welcome. I see chat from YouTube as well, so I'm keeping an eye on that. I'm actually monitoring chat from multiple feeds right now. Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Steam. Hey, Blue Mage, Rev, welcome back, gentlemen. Okay, so I think I should show you this first. So the devs are working on expanding not only these new room types, but a new biome to supplement it. So it's, the black and white biome, the white parchment, if you will. Yes. Blueprint, whatever you want it to be. Transparent, not yet, no. Transparent will take something else entirely, as was heavily discussed in Discord and on the last stream. But basically, the transparency isn't as easy or straightforward as it would seem, because we can't use PNG because let's say your map is 100 by 100 and it's a 300 DPI map, it would be like over a gigabyte in size. So that doesn't work for most virtual tabletops. While it'll work for like a TV tabletop or a print, it doesn't work for virtual tabletops, which is where transparency is primarily needed. WebP, which is a good kind of fallback option, is compatible with all those. They offer transparency, and it's a nominally much smaller, fractionally smaller file. It's intended for the internet, so it's much smaller. But the problem is it's not native to Unity, so we'd have to come up with some sort of conversion or make a plugin or module that fits into DA that does all that work on the back end. So it's not something easily addressed, though it is something that DA wants to address. And who knows, maybe Unity will add, stock WebP support. We'll see. But if you look at this biome here, it matches these new room types that we're going to be adding in, like the new objects and stuff in this next update that have these kind of white, neat kind of artist style, like drawing biome. Confused. Okay, another thing here, some more assets that'll be appearing in the next update. So there's like a modular statue creator where you can kind of shuffle in all these different assets and heads to make custom deity statues. You see the Cthulhu one down here, the Zoidberg looking guy? You always have Zoidberg. You all have Zoidberg. Anyway, these statues will be modular in that they're essentially like a variant where you can like press tab and shift through them. But I think there'll be a menu, a drop menu in the UI where you can kind of like press head and change the head, and hands and change the hand, body, whatever, a bunch of different things. Anyway, let's go back to the first video here. So this is that new biome, that, you know, white parchment biome, but I wanted to showcase this asset that the dev team's been working on. It's essentially a drawbridge and portcullis that is like fully animated. And it's a much longer drawbridge, yes. It's like 2 floors tall. So this will be in not our next patch, but in the Fun with Objects 2 update. Let's play that one more time for y'all. I'm surprised no one's brought up what I asked you to bring up earlier. Yeah, it's at least 5 blocks long. 5 squares. Because you got 3 here and then 2 more for sure there. 25 feet. Now, this is another thing. So, basically, the UI for variants is getting an improvement. If a variant has tons of options, it'll have this kind of thing on it instead. So if there's like more than, say, like 10 variants for something, it'll have this instead of a tab. So it's a new variant, you know, UI. So the secret news, I can't remember if we discussed this on the stream when Carl was there, but if you missed the stream or haven't seen it, this is news to you. And if we didn't discuss it, it's news to you. There should be a patch before month's end. GeForce Now was something we discussed, and I'll bring it up a little bit more. But there will be a small patch before the month's end that incorporates a bunch of hot fixes from like bug reports we've been getting over the last few months. And also it incorporates a new little feature for allowing for essentially multi-page printing. So with multi-page printing, you in essence have with printed maps in the past, you were kind of limited to 1 page of any, you know, page we supported, you know, like A2, A4, 8.5 by 11, you know, letter, whatever. So it would only be that size for printed maps. But now you can make the map any size you want, you know, digital sizes, if you will, but then split it up into multiple printed pages. And these pages actually overlap with each other a bit, so they're easier to stitch together. So if you play in person or do printed maps, it'll be much easier for you to do now from your home printer. And I was discussing with the devs how we could implement that type of feature as well into digital maps for virtual tabletop. And by that, I mean split up, say, 100 by 100 map into 250 map, you know, or 4 25 by 25 maps. And then that splits it up into 4 images or videos, but also the JSONs and stuff for it. So you can split it and then export it. So I feel like this feature, the patch that's releasing the multi-printed maps, like multi-page printed maps, will lead to inevitably the splitting of large, you know, maps from, say, the workshop or maps you make. No, it doesn't work with VTT splitting yet, Mondu. See, that's the thing. I'm hoping they will start leaning towards that. That's the idea long term. I discussed it with Carl and with Wim. Wim thought it was a neat idea and said discuss it with Carl, and I had already talked to Carl about it. That it, you know, it's a good idea because I think ultimately there's a lot of big maps that some people can make on their computers, but then a lot of people want to use, but they can't effectively export it, you know, because their computer can't really load the map well. If we had an option to split up a map easily, that way you could build it all very large, it's connected very seamlessly, you know what I mean? But then when it's split, it's much easier for the average computer to digest and play. Anyway. I love it too, Bremen. Welcome back, by the way. Hope you're well. Excuse me. Let me get some water. So those sigil, like, kind of, what are they called? Liveries for, like, you know, the different shields and whatnot. That'll be available in Fun with Objects Part 2, which we're hoping to launch. The devs have told me anywhere between beginning of summer to end of summer. So it's kind of an estimate, though, that could be easily extended. We'll see, though. But like I said, we're going to have a small patch before the end of the month that will address a lot of hot fixes and bugs that have been discovered since Fun with Objects launched. One thing I know they're addressing is when you generate a room or like add walls and it deletes objects way far away. So that's something that's being like, or in rooms adjacent, that's something that's being looked at. There's like a bunch of different things that are being considered. Yeah, well, I'm actually just have it up. I haven't been working on it today. This is what I work on Mondays. So I've only worked on it one week so far. But I will be working on it again on Monday. That being said, we are done with our news segment, so it's probably time to get into our damn challenge segment. I am so mad at myself. I forgot to put up the graphic. Darn it. Okay, it's okay. I'm going to put up the damn challenge segment, right? Art, for sure. So, let's move on to that. I'm going to load the winning map. Drum roll, please. The winner is Highland Lass. Honestly, I was so torn on which map to pick as the winning map. And there were so many interesting maps, both small and large. And honestly, I think what really sold me on this is just, I kind of put myself for a moment in the shoes of my player character in my campaign. I don't always do this, but I kind of like to sometimes if I'm having a hard time picking a winner, I'll like see what it would be like as a character walking around in first person, right? And how they might enjoy this space. And at the end of the day, I just found it so like engaging, enamoring, and well designed. You know, she'll likely drop in throughout the stream. You know, and that's a bummer that she's not here, but it's okay. Let's give her some congratulations in chat. We can't all win, but we can all be winners. Let's get up to like a higher perspective here. What really sold me on this map is just like, look how beautiful it looks in a top down. It's such a useful space. Like, I'm sure anyone could use this as a shop for their campaigns. I think my favorite part of it, though, is this little, like, bistro kind of, like, shop in the corner. Like, maybe a little coffee shop. Like, I just think, like, man, if this is the total package, because you could stay here for hours just reading books. So it's a bookstore, right? Not necessarily, it might be based on a real library, I don't know. But I just love the overall layout, the vibe. Like there's cats all over the place. It just seems like a fun place to hang out and read. Every level is just well decorated and designed, like every little space and nook and cranny. Oh, cats aren't that bad. You know, I'm a dog and a cat person. I have both. And I love them and they love me, so I'm cool with cats. No, it's okay. Some people don't vibe with cats, and that's fine. And some people don't vibe with dogs, and that's fine. Some people don't vibe with pets in general. That's not something we should judge people over. We also shouldn't judge DMs for how much they want to TPK their parties. Where is Seymour? Where is he? He's hiding in here? I didn't see him in my first pass. Oh, there's a kitty bed under there. I didn't see that one in my first pass either. All right, all right. But isn't this just like such a fun little map? You know what? Actually, so I need to correct prior statements I've made because I didn't fully understand Dungeon Alchemist's processing as a whole. I'm not a developer, right? I'm the community manager, and I kind of have repeated what I've either heard or been told. And from my understanding of it, it was only using a single core, but I was mistaken. So I asked them to explain it to me in great detail so I could get it. And then I asked them to explain it to me like a fifth grader because I still didn't get it. And then I asked them to explain it to me like a first grader because I still wasn't getting it. So, no, I'm just kidding. It's actually quite simple. Basically, Dungeon Alchemist only uses a single core when it needs a single core. But if it becomes more process intensive, i.e., you know, lots of animations, lots or heavy export processes, etc., a larger map, it starts using more of your cores, more of your RAM. So it's adaptive. It essentially goes from anywhere from minimal use to, you know, maximum usage. So in the past, I assumed it when I was first told this or where I read it from, I can't remember where I read it, that it's stated that it only used a single core. So I guess I just misunderstood that what it was saying and kind of, yeah. Anyway, so from what our lead dev told me is Dungeon Alchemist essentially it uses multiple cores where necessary. That being said, they could go through and optimize. Oh, there he is. There's my puppy. We could optimize even more with time as we've added multi-level and roofing. They will want to go through and optimize stuff. And there is areas for improvement. Like one thing I think we could change in Dungeon Alchemist that would improve a lot of processing power is get rid of some of the previews, or at least give you the option to disable it. Like when you're changing walls in DA, like it can start to lag out, right? Like right now, it was kind of lag spiking for a second. So in my opinion, I don't think these animations should exist. It should just go to this wall, right? And then you click it and then it animates. Does that make sense? Yeah, it would be nice to disable that. At least for people, especially for people who don't necessarily have like the best computer. You know, maybe you're on a laptop that's, you know, several years old, or a desktop that's several years old, or, you know, it age is irrelevant. If you have a computer that's not that powerful, it's going to struggle with these animations. So we should consider it, at least disabling them, or an option to disable them. Wow, you run it on Steam Deck? Interesting. So I've actually asked the devs a couple of times if we could try optimizing around Steam Deck. I think after we leave early access, they want to try to. We may end up getting one and doing some testing at that point. But it's kind of a ways out. That said, I do have some good news for anyone who, you know, is running on Steam Deck, or, you know, on a less than optimal machine, or maybe wants to run Dungeon Alchemist on like a tablet. We are investigating adding GeForce Now support, which is relatively easy to do on the Steam end, to, like, you know, add it, and then they put us in for approval, and then we do some testing. So from my understanding is we're going to try and, you know, get that into Fun with Objects 2. So essentially what that means is if you know, maybe have a less than optimal machine that's a couple years old, but you have a good internet connection, you can use the cloud to supplement your computer to run Dungeon Alchemist, which means you can run it from like a tablet, like an iPad, or, you know, with increased performance on a standard computer. Forgotten Death, I gotta ask you, how do you save your maps on Steam Deck? Do you just save them to the workshop and then download them later? Or is there like, I'm assuming there's an onboard memory, like an SD card, like a micro SD or something? Like, let's say you want to get it off of your Steam Deck to somewhere else. Oh, using DA on a tablet for Steam Link? Oh, cool. I didn't know that. Did not know that. Wait a second though. Does that mean you have to have a computer that runs it in the background and sends it to you? Atlam? Okay. See, what if they don't have a computer that can do it really well? Like, that's the problem. They need the extra oomph, the extra engine. You know what I mean? I really enjoyed this map. I think it's quite beautiful. Also found it was an interesting choice to not really have a roof. I know that Highland Lass has a love-hate relationship with roofing, so I could understand why she may not want to, you know, deal with it. That being said, I am so impressed with this map. I think it's quite lovely. And again, congratulations, Highland Lass. We do need to move on to other maps, though. So thank you so much for sharing this lovely library, packed to the brim with books, cats, pets to pet and enjoy, a lovely little corner for kids to play while their parents study. A nice little coffee shop at the top level. I just found this map so fun, top to bottom. Okay, next map. This one here is from Lord Rev, and it's kind of like a Transformer map. It's more than meets the eye. Metarzek over on YouTube says, my PC is more than 13 years old with DDR3 RAM, but runs DA, but DA runs just fine till I make larger maps. Correct. Larger maps, or if you add like animation, right, or export it in a video mode, older computers, you know, may struggle. Though it is very possible to run DA on like next to nothing, as long as you're sticking to smaller encounter-based maps like this size. So what? This map here has a hidden storefront that is a bakery that is actually the cover for what is, I believe, a underground magic shop that you have to know the password to get into. A black market. Yep. The secret door. That one, pretty obvious there. Probably should have used a different stone wall there. But it is hidden behind stuff, so it makes it less easy to get to. If I'm not mistaken, there is stonework that matches this door. Let's find it. I want to just try. Not that one. That one. But then, yep, it puts that pillar. Weird. Interesting. Anyway, love a little secret door, right? Adds a little intrigue to any map. Finding an underground shop with a alternate entrance here. Is this also a secret door? Confused. Oh, there it is. That's the secret door. So there's another secret door here into the sewers. So there's multiple entrances and exits. I've actually started to really enjoy the view without all the dirt. When I have no need for it, I just turn it off. Like if I'm incorporating the environment in the map underground somewhere, then yes. But for the time being, if I'm underground, I disable it. You're right, Mondu. You are 100% correct. Let's check it out. Let's fix it. Oh, wrong one. There we go. So now it blends really well. You're going to need quite the perception check or investigation check to find that, my friends. It deletes stuff? Huh. Oh, like things that are sunken into the dirt level, it hides them entirely? Yeah, look. Look at that shelf. Just boop. That's interesting. That shouldn't at all, but like I said, wall 0 is different than floor 0. So an object 0 on the wall is different than it is on the floor. So if a shelf is manually raised or lowered, it ends up going what is below, technically. That is strange, for sure. Oh well. We'll leave it. Either way, though, good to know. Love this little shop. I found it very intriguing and, like, it's got a little bit of everything. Anyway. Rev, fantastic work on this build. Are you still watching, my friend? I know you were earlier, but you might be working and lurking. Blue Mage, why are you saying that, man? Haven't been able to bring anything together lately. Dude, your World Forge was dope. Though, if you need a break, if you're feeling burnt out, take a break. That being said, it's interesting. I find inspiration in the most weird ways sometimes. Sometimes it's just like reading books or, especially history books, because they have like lots of information about old architecture. You don't like the idea of sleeping next to the sewage? Probably not a good idea. That being said, Blue Mage, you have a lot of talent. So I would be bummed if you left us forever. But I do understand if you got to take a break or you're getting kind of burnt out mentally. That's a funny concept, actually, a used horse dealership. To be honest with you, that's really funny. And honestly, I could see how it could be like a little, like hard to realize, per se. But I wouldn't let it get you down. You could always finish the map later, save it for like a future semi-similar theme, or just share it on the workshop, because it doesn't always have to be about competing. I do know that you said you don't necessarily, or at least in the past you weren't running a campaign, so a lot of the maps you do make are for the damn challenge. But yeah, your maps are dope. Don't be so hard on yourself. I'm very, very, very impressed with the work you bring to the table. And you always have like really fun, unique ideas. That being said, I could understand how you feel like, oh man, I always have this expectation of doing something creative and unique. That could put a lot of pressure on someone. So don't necessarily feel like you have to like bring your A game every damn challenge. Just have fun. Build a map, enjoy it. Map making should be, at its core, enjoyable, cathartic experience. Speaking of themes, we need to start coming up with a theme for our next damn challenge. So, would very much love to discuss that with y'all. I'm open to suggestions, 1 to 2 word themed suggestions that essentially, hopefully inspire a lot of creative entries. This last theme was shop, and we got 10 entries, which I was so happy to see. This particular entry here is from Tropism, if I'm not mistaken. Interesting, JJM director. Didn't really, I know who you're talking about because I watched a little bit of that show, but I never really got into it. But that's cool. Like a place to hide out in the sewers is always interesting. It's a place most people probably won't look for you, right? The square meal. So we've got, an inn, right? Yeah, it is some Z fighting for sure. Or are we talking about Dragon Ball Z fighters? I think this was my favorite part of this build. Like the entire layout of this, like, inn and tavern. I love the open courtyard area in the center. It's like fully exposed. The little outdoor seating. That little window to hand food through, really smart. Here we've got a hookah lounge, of course. Nothing unsavory here. Little textiles shop or a tailor, it looks like. That like a robe of useful items. Prison could be fun. Prison could be fun. Eric, are you still here lurking? Calling you out. Sorry, I've been so distracted with what's going on in, chat today. But I want to say excited for tomorrow. Hopefully you're ready for us. We're going into what is likely the most intense, dungeon we've been to yet. Stormy leather. Magical cloak of billowing. When you have prestidigitation, you don't need a cloak of billowing. Chalkboard's 25% off. Carnival's an interesting theme. I like that one, actually. So we've got prison and carnival. Yeah, upside down boats are always fun, because it's like indicative of using whatever you have available to you, right? Usually a traveling merchant would end up using their boat as like something to sleep in, or even often like in Viking culture they would use boats, or an upside down boat design for building the roof, because that's like what they knew how to build. That being said, like I grew up in a kind of a small town in southern Utah near Pine Valley National Park, like Dixie National Forest or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but there is a church there that's like over 100 years old. That's like a kind of like a historical landmark now. And the church got built by a shipbuilder. That's the only person they could find to be an architect, was some guy who used to build ships who had moved there. And so he built the roof like a boat, an upside down boat. Does a billowing cloak require attunement? I don't think so, right? I'm pretty sure it's not. Dang, what is going on in here? Ah, fortune teller. I see. Just a bonus action? Neat. You know, we may want to take the conversation to Discord where we can see some examples of it too. Like even a screenshot or something would really help go a long ways. Really like this build though, Tropism. The little city square, you know, kind of the old stonework, the cracked stone. Really great work on this. The roads are a great example of roads as well. Oh, okay, cool. Sorry, I was kind of thought I was following along vaguely. Are you taking notes on the suggestions, Atlam, for the next theme? Great use of like desert styling for windows and Adobe style, you know, buildings. Really just lovely design as a whole. Yeah, the cracked road's great. Here's a broken spot too. Big Stew, Danger Zone. Danger Zone! Take it right into the... On it like a sonnet? Or like Sonic. Gotcha. By the bushel. So, as the streams have been growing, right? Like we've been getting very busy on the streams, both, you know, here on Twitch and other platforms. And also, like, we've been growing in our Discord. I am strongly considering expanding our moderator team. There are a lot of great people in our community who are very active and understand, you know, the vibe we're trying to uphold and keep. And I would very much like to bring others on to help assist. You know, this is nothing against our current moderators here, by the way. You guys are rock stars. I just want to, you know, give you a chance to make it easier on you too. Give more mods means more, you know, more hands make less work. You know what I mean? So I'm strongly considering expanding our moderators, probably beginning next month. More hands slap harder. More hands means more band hammers. Exactly, Mondu. You get it. This guy gets it. One large hammer. Group effort. Anyway, Tropism, fantastic work on this. I really just loved the vibe, man. You did a great job. You're like, you make some of the best desert maps in our community. You use the desert and Badlands, which actually this is probably grasslands at the moment, I'm assuming, biome, just because the sand and greens. But you're really good at giving the desert vibe. Oh, it is desert. Never mind. Huh. I thought for sure you might have been... Nope, the dunes, you're right. Nope, the dunes really definitely mean it's desert. You are correct, Mondu. But yeah, you just really are good with the desert vibe, desert aesthetic. Keep it up. Keep it up. I understand Forgotten Death. You know, you and a lot of other people and me, I push for it quite a bit. You know, we had our lead dev on the stream last Saturday, and that was brought up. And kind of explained in depth, and we discussed it earlier on the stream, even if you weren't here, but I'll discuss it again. That being said, like, it essentially isn't super viable at the moment for a number of different reasons. It isn't like something we can just flip a switch and it works. there is a whole bunch of like essentially data for each level as to where to have transparency, right? That needs to be determined and a script made, and then that needs to export to a format that is actually, you know, which isn't compatible with Unity currently, which is WebP. So we'd have to make some sort of export mechanism or module or, you know, software ourselves that plugs into DA and does all that work. So PNG just isn't a viable file format, especially once you get over like a 50 by 50 map. If it's a 300 DPI export, it can get insanely large file sizes, which aren't optimized for virtual tabletop. You'll quickly surpass, you know, their file size requirements. This map was a heavy contender for a win, and I just found it so neat. I'm gonna just here, we'll turn this way really quickly. It's kind of late, but there is a spider on this map, but it is kind of iron, you know, mechanical, so not necessarily fully real. But yeah, this one is crazy level cram, which is creative asset misuse, is our acronym for creative asset misuse. This is a spider built almost entirely out of objects. Here's helmets for leg portions and pipes. And, you know, the eyeballs are... What is that? Looks like cannonballs. You know, there's all sorts of little things here. This looks like Artificer's, thaumator. I don't know what that is, but that's what it is. So this portion here is actually using the room tool, like these walls and these ones here. So you have like a little, like a parlor here, right? For some reason, here, I'll just delete off this portion. Can't really see in this room below, and I know there's a room here. Yeah, you lose a lot of detail, but I wanted to show this room. I guess I could have just walked in, huh? You know what? Let's do that. Yeah, you know what it reminds me of? Did anyone ever see Wild Wild West? With, like, Will Smith? Before he kind of went off the deep end? They have that huge mechanical spider. Someone else also correlated that same thing and shared it in the Discord. But yeah, that's what it reminds me of, to the T. So it's like a mobile forge. Kind of like a Howl's Wandering Castle vibe. Anyway, I think they did a really good job. It's quite neat. Bye. But essentially, they use this to travel the vast deserts to go between settlements because it's like a very like dead environment, a big, massive desert world. Yeah, that's 100% kit bashed, except for like these two levels right here. Like this one there and that one there. So not bad at all. Very cool. Next. Just another magic shop by A.K. Ackman. I don't know. I'll just call him Ackman because I don't know what the last bit there is. Can I offer you an egg in these trying times? So, first off, we got a little mixing area, laboratory downstairs. Not necessarily secret. Noticed also that this entire facility is surrounded with like an acid moat, walls, magic circles. So it seems like this place is on lockdown. Actually wasn't originally meant for, yeah, no, a Superman movie. You're right. Superman movie. That's right. That is right. So there's shots out there of Nicolas Cage wearing a Superman outfit, right? Because they were doing screen tests for a movie where essentially this director wanted all this creative power and wanted Superman to fight a spider, a big mechanical spider. But Warner Brothers was like, no, there is really no instance of this. And Warner Brothers and DC were like, no, no, no. And so the movie got scrapped, and then we got the Brandon Routh Superman. Yeah, it is just basically a moat, right? If you will, with walls around it, which is a big deterrent, really. You're only coming in through the doors that are heavily sealed and fortified. But yeah, there's like images and screen tests of him as Superman. Thank goodness we didn't get that. This shop has got just a lovely little layout with tons of little things going on, right? You got your little curiosities, some books in one corner. The front counter has got some neat little items and a ring out station. Oh, here we got different displays with different things on them. Right? Oh, come over here and check out all our cloaks and robes. Here's our potions. The little lavatory. Remember that underground little workshop? Like probably their cellar where they can, do their experiments and make potions. I didn't see the Flash movie, so thanks for the spoilers, man. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, you get Nicolas Cage as Superman? Goodness. Upstairs here, you start getting into more advanced dark magics, things behind fields stored in jars. Kind of dangerous stuff, right? I'm like in Prison or Carnival. Those are my two favorite contenders at the moment. Big Stew sounds interesting, though. But I feel like there will be like a lot of similar entries. A large Turkish fruit. What's a Turkish fruit? Or do you mean a Turkish delight? Yeah, I was going to say a Turkish delight. Ugh. Ugh. The mouth one always unsettles me. Could always use some good prison maps, right, Lalandra? Here's the thing. When we do these themes, I like to pick a theme that is, simple, thought-inspiring, 1 to 2 words, but also helps our community as a whole. Because I like filling in and adding more maps of that style to the workshop. Inevitably, all these maps end up on the workshop, right? So not only are you entering the dam challenge, but you're helping our community out by providing a bunch of shops. At the end of the day, a prison or a, you get what I'm saying. A carnival or a prison, both very, very interesting maps that could have a lot of use. I think most anyone could make a map that they could use in their own campaign that is prison related. Heck, the campaign I'm in started with a prison break. But you could always have your players get caught and have to break out of a prison, or maybe they need to get caught to get into the prison to break someone out of it. There's a lot of reasons to go into a prison. Up here, the upstairs looks like their private little abode here. So there's their bathroom and their bed, a little lounge kind of area, and their wardrobe, which they have like all their magical equipment. They're the level 20 shopkeep here. Yeah, definitely prisoners don't agree on it. So the thing about our group, right? Oh, we got some follows here in the last little bit, and I just want to say thank you for those. Eddie and Paratora, thank you for your follows over on Twitch. Much appreciated if you're still here. My apologies for not thanking you sooner. Anyway, I need to turn on a notification. What I need to do is make a custom sound that isn't something copyrighted, or pull something from one of the musics we have license for and use it as a notification when we get like a follow or a sub. For sure, like look at this little like charcuterie layout here. This person's fancy. They've got their safes and a study. Oh, what do we got in the safe? They've even got a magic mouth on the wall ready that's probably like a trap that utters out. Like, look at these circles. Like, there's definitely magics protecting this area. You know, Anani, let's talk about it after the stream, okay? Why don't you message me? And then we could talk about it later. So our whole group was imprisoned wrongly as far as I'm aware. However, there are a couple people in our group that acted a little sus when they were telling their reasons for being imprisoned. But one of our members of our group joined later, and they were actually like captured and being sold off to like slavery or to be like torn up into magic parts because they're a fairy. So we saved them, and then they joined our group out of gratitude. And then the another person in our group, like, it won't necessarily tell us their whole story because they're kind of reserved, which I understand. Everyone doesn't necessarily deserve to know everything about each other. And then they also confiscated the book that was like the ledger for all the prisoners and why they were there. And they've kind of kept it to themselves. So we're like, That being said, when I found the book and I opened it and figured out what it was, I pulled out the page that had my stuff on it and burnt it. But I just laughed and told everyone what it was because I told them there I was imprisoned because of, you know, basically I wronged the wrong person, but I didn't do anything wrong, like illegally in the eyes of the law. I just insulted a duke in a game of cards and won all his money, so he sent the local sheriff after me so he could get his cash back. Anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Didn't you send a message about sound design? Could have sworn you did. It just got flagged because of what you said in it. Yeah, it got flagged because of the statements in it by the auto mods, which happens sometimes. Definitely wasn't me, but we can just chat about the sound design if you're interested. This looks super cool. Love it, love it, love it. But we got to move on if we want to feature all these maps. Where are we? Let's go to this one, yeah, which is like essentially what we're looking at is like a big superstore with everything. They've got food, they've got gear, they've got stuff for your home and decoration. The thing is we would need something that's like custom made, that's like you own the rights to per se, you know, and we could commission you to make it even. That being said, let's talk about it after the stream. We've got like a restaurant and tavern. Looks like a bakery here. A place to paint even, because, you know, you might need that. Here's a little magic shop. Welcome to Costco. I love you. How does one get in here? Did they forget to put doors here? Kind of looks like it. Or are these secret entrances? Could be secret. Oh no, it's okay. I kind of assumed it was a secret door. Isn't that you, Kahlua the Rogue? You're the creator, right? Or it's you and your partner. By the way, welcome to the stream. I like this little garden, by the way. It reminds me of like a nursery at like Lowe's or Walmart or something. Your daughter did this one? That's fantastic. How old is your daughter, if you don't mind sharing? We love to hear about like young kids, teens, and whatever that are making maps and learning about Dungeons and Dragons and tabletop gaming. We support a few gaming clubs, some teachers, libraries, etc. We absolutely just love supporting the next generation of tabletop gamers, however we can. That is so amazing. A 12-year-old getting into map making. Well, she has a bright future in front of her. Like, indeed. I love the vibe. But yeah, definitely see the missed door there. But we could just pretend they're secret doors, and this is a secret lab, right? Or a shop. That also fits the story for now. Fantastic work, though. Show how to fix the roof. This one here? Yeah, so the roof geometry here, it's having trouble trying to figure out what to do. So what we'll probably do is split this off into several rooms. Let's see here. I'm going to go to the edit room tab to learn what this is. Village Smithy. So what I'm going to do is go to Village and Smithy. And I'm just going to draw like a new hallway here to split this up into two different squares instead of a square with a really long hallway on the side. You know what I mean? And while we're at it, let's put some doors on this just to quickly for fun, right? Let's put a couple of these bad boys. Now, this is technically a new separate room from this, right? Ha, darn it. I was hoping that would fix it. Well, it's okay. Let's try something else here. Yep, separating it into a new roof fixed it. For some reason, the roof geometry gets all weird if it's one big roof. So, we do something like that, and it fixes it. Because this is a separate room with a separate roof, solves the issue, at least for now. That side works just fine. What? Ah! That is so infuriating. Why? I just want to remind everyone, we are in early access, very much in early access. And from time to time, Dungeon Alchemist is just strange. And roofing, this is our first iteration of roofing with a very new, like, design from the ground up algorithm that is based off of an existing algorithm that only like a handful of people in the world understand and know how to use. And this was like the first time it was ever used in this use case for a roofing. So I think there's some room for improvement and growth with it with time. little things like this, a lot of times order of operations, like, you know how I changed the roof all to the same roof, but from the left side to the right, for some reason that worked instead of going from the right side to the left. But now all of a sudden it's linked together, it's great. So once they're all linked together, it's okay. It's this one little strip connected to this that causes a problem. Not sure why. That being said, often if you have like a little strip or a little extra room or slip of space with the same roof, you'll get, it kind of freaks out the room geometry or the roof geometry, and it struggles with it and makes a broken roof, right? So what I did there to try and address it or fix it is I split this room that was this part and this part into this part and that part separately. So first off, I went into the room tool, I selected edit room, I clicked on the room, and it told me what type of room it is, village smithy, right? I wanted to keep it the same, so I went to the room tool, village smithy, so it has a similar vibe. Then I drew in the new room and generated it, and now it gets rid of what was an attached hallway, thinking it's one big room, and now it's two. For the software's sake, the brain of the software trying to understand the space, it's two separate rooms, or even three, technically. Put another door here. We'll put that wheel inside. Anyway, I love this map. I think your daughter did a fantastic job on it, and keep up the good work. Definitely what I recommend doing with maps, do a little quick walkthrough. Check the hallways for stuff. Make sure all the doorways are, you know, accessible. You can drop a token in the map like this, and then you can walk around in first person. Like, oh, bucket on the floor. I guess someone was cleaning. Right. Alrighty, let's move on to the next map. Fantastic work on this. Well, maybe they were fixing something and picking up broken tiles or something, so they were breaking a broken tile and then throwing it in the bucket. Yeah, let's give some encouragement to this new map maker in our community. Man, Geronimo, you are something else, my friend, and this map was seriously top contender. Yeah, the thumbnail's great. The map is also just super well done. Geronimo really has an eye for just unique maps as a whole. So if you look at it from the front, this is a combination of room generation and kit bashing, right? A lot of these, like this is an object, this is an object. Right, all these little spaces here are like random like bits of wood attached. You know, some of it underneath is actually a structure. This little area on top of the ears and the brow is like a little balcony. Yeah, speaking of Geronimo, he will be a guest on our stream this next Saturday, the 14th. For roughly a half hour. He'll be a guest on the stream, answering questions, discussing his map making style, and, you know, what inspires him to build the maps he does. I do think, you know, this would be a great little goblin encounter map. Well, you could always watch the VOD, right? Right, Anani? If you missed the stream, you can always watch the VOD after. By the way, I'll be putting a thread in our Discord. If you have questions for him, you can ask them there, and if we have time, we'll address them in the stream. Probably would be best to just put a token inside and explore. I've got a few goblins. I love the very, like, ramshackle nature of it. Like, things just kind of thrown together with whatever scrap wood and parts that could be found. Goblin Slayer anime. You know, I've never seen it. Never seen it. Yep, there is a downstairs. I was going to get to it after we did the top area. I think that's one thing Hieronymo takes into account when building his maps is he makes sure they're traversable. You know what I mean? Like, he'll explore them in a token mode and make sure you can navigate them. And it even goes lower. So here there's like a bedroom and little laundry area. He never put a door on one of these or just a plain arch, so I can't walk through it. It's like an arcade wall and doesn't let me go through. Down at the bottom here, we have a workshop. It is a masterpiece of chaos, right? And I guarantee you this goblin knows where everything is. You'd be like, do you have this very obscure magic item? And it'll be like, yes, I do. And then run and dig through a box under a, like in the back corner, and you hear trinkets being tossed everywhere. And then all of a sudden that song starts playing. It's like, out here in the field. I'll be there. Have y'all seen that like TikTok with it's got like the dad and the sons, right? It's got some serious dad energy in it, and the sons are like trying to fix their bed frame. And they're like, if only we had just this like little piece of wood that kind of like looked like this, like a U shape, and it's like this big. And the dad's like, hold on, I think I've got that. And he just runs out to his workshop, which is like kind of like this goblin's trove. And he just starts digging through all the bins and underneath counters and workbenches. And then he finds it and runs in and he shows them. He's like this? And then they're like, yeah. And he's had it, you could tell he's had that in his shop for like 20 plus years. Finally now getting to use it for the first time. Too funny. Shoot, I'm trying to love just like everything on the little shelves everywhere. I have I don't know if it's just because I'm like a dad or maybe my ADHD. I don't know. But I keep a bin, like a tote, just full of like cords and adapters and power plugs and like that I'm not sure A, what it goes to, or if I still have it anymore, or B, if I might need it again in the future. Does anyone have like it's beyond junk drawer. It's like a whole tote full of stuff. It actually might need to expand to a second tote. And then when I do a yard sale, like every decade or so, I'll take about half of that tote and set it aside into like a bin or like a little, like on my table with like little boxes that'll say cords in this one are 25 cents or $1 and adapters in this one are 25 cents. And I'll make a killing on them that way, A. But B, I almost always, anytime I'm doing something in my house, I'll go dig through that bin and pull out a cord and use it. So Lalandra has something like that. Mondu has something like that. Anyone else have something like that at home? Where you like have like a drawer or a closet or a bin. Call it a shed. Full of just cords and junk. My other weird, I think this is mostly a millennial trait. I don't know, though, is I keep all the boxes for my electronics. And I have a box just filled with boxes. Like a massive box filled with all the boxes. Hear me out. Because I treat my electronics very delicately and really well. The only time they break is just if they just wore out over time from tons of use, right? Like these headphones are like 10 years old. I make my electronics last a long time. And in the past, I have resold my electronics, right? Or traded them in. And the trade-in value and resale value goes up for some reason if you have the box and the manual. You know, I went through and sold like the paper sleeves for my DVDs and Blu-rays. People buy those. I sold them for money. I'm just telling you, like, there is like, yeah, I don't know. There is a use for these things. Anyway, I do have some floppies in here. Check it. Found these in my stuff the other day, but these aren't 4-inch. These are what, the 2.5-inch or whatever. The 4-inch ones were actually floppity. I've been going through finding all my old media and trying to back it up. Thought I hit load, my bad. Whatever. I just remember my buddy had a computer where the screen was like black with like green writing, with like green graphics, right? And the screen kind of felt like it had like a nylon over it, like you could rub it, and it was like kind of like I had a scratchy sound to it. And we would play like Colossal Cave on that, and it was like a floppy disk. And the disc was like a big square and literally had a floppy feel to it. I have old hard drives, keyboards, mice. You know, once in a while a mouse will die and you got to go grab a spare, right? It's nice to have. Or when you're building a computer, you don't want to pull apart your whole desk, so you have an extra computer, like keyboard and mouse, for when you're building the PC in another spot, you know? Can I just say, Random Ladybird, that this map is adorable. So I really love the nature of the design, the roofing, the layout of the interior, but it just feels like a home in New York where they like only have this one little lot, and so they build up as high vertically as they can, like a brownstone in New York. You know what I mean? That's kind of the vibe I was getting from it, at least. Sure, there wasn't an underfloor level. So at the entry here, this is like essentially a general store with a little bit of everything. San Francisco vibe as well. Either or, Blue Mage for sure. I currently don't have any spare monitors because all of my screens, my spare ones, like I gave one to my son and gave one to my wife. So like when theirs died, so I don't really have any backups. So it's like an old store where, you know, the guy runs the shop and would go grab them the things and shows them what he has. And then they probably run up a tab and pay their tab, right? I wasn't correcting your stuff. I was not at all. I was showing you my own and saying what size they were. I would never dare mansplain. I'll maxplain all day, though. Make sure you stand up and stretch regularly. Too much sitting causes the cheeks to hurt. I really love the like shelves back here with all the goods. Did y'all see that? It might have been that. I thought this was coming out of this like a tab. I was like, did I just discover something? I know, I wanted to just show everyone each level before we did a token walkthrough. But doing the double wide stairs definitely helps with that for sure. I love this. Yeah, just like, oh, and the little tents too. The demo tents. Looks like we got another vote for Prison from YouTube. Looks like Prison's going to be the winner. You know, I wasn't even looking for them in this because, like, I didn't think there was that much outdoor aesthetic, but there are some plants and stuff in it for sure. I love the wall of lamps, like a lighting shop. There was a lighting store in my old hometown that like was in ads all the time on the radio. And like they ended up going under when like Home Depot came into town. But yeah, that's like what it was like. There was just tons of lighting fixtures hung all over and fans. This right here was one of my favorite parts. The way you did these angled shelves. A lot of times people put these in round corners, not against flat walls. I found it unique and fun. Just a little bit of everything here. Whether it's for your adventure or your home. Cathedral is a neat suggestion, DM Crusader. I will say this, though. It's a little late in the suggestion point now because people are kind of voting on ones that we made suggestions for all stream. But you're welcome to add it, and if people like it and resonate with it, it might still win. Who knows? Yep, that is a projector here. Were you intending this to be like a portal? I wasn't sure what the intention was here. I also like the idea of like this shop. Like there is also like, hey, the mail gets delivered here potentially. So there's like a little cage to get the mail. Because it's like the only place. Oh, this is the service department? Gotcha. So they do repairs here. And this is like receiving, right? Or like the warehouse. Back in the day when places used to repair stuff on site. Look at all those documents. It looks like little paintings here. Hey, there's a ladybug. Found one. Boop. Oh, no. No! Well, it was on that day. Mac was never seen again. But I like how this is easily accessible from the bottom floor at this counter area, right? Alrighty. Such a beautiful map, really well done. Always a pleasure and just such a delight to explore your builds, Random Ladybird. I was hoping to find a ladybug here as well. Yeah. By the way, I actually have our guest for both the 14th and the 28th booked out. So we know our guests till the end of the month. Man, February was so perfect this month. It started on the 1st and ends on the 28th, like it always does. But literally the first day of the month was a Sunday, right? It's just interesting. So it was just kind of neat on a calendar. I was reading that if we had 13 months instead of 12 with like all weird different days, they'd all could have 28 days and they would start and end on the same day every month. And then like the solstices and everything would line up. And I don't know. It's just kind of an interesting idea for a calendar, a little bit more organized. I don't know how true that is. I want to sit down and do the math sometime. I don't think leap years are needed anymore with that because it's like all factored in then. Would you still need a leap day? Good to know. So it wouldn't be 365 days anymore. The year would be 364 days. This is true. It would slowly shift over time, but 13 months at 28 days apiece is 364 days. The last day of the year, everyone just parties. Few days be 25 hours. That's a good suggestion. That's actually kind of neat. But also, like, they'd have to redesign clocks the world over just for this. Okay, I'm going to say this right now. Chim's map, for some reason, always makes my computer like lag out. What are you putting in your maps that is causing my computer to die? She's hiding something in them. Clock leap day. That was actually the quickest it's loaded thus far. Twice earlier, it took quite a bit. So this is called the Chop Shop, which most of the others were shops that sell things instead of break things down, right? So here it looks like a kobold empire to break down carts and wagons, boats, other things, anything they can get their hands on so they can resell it or cobble it together as a new product. I found this build very fun because we don't have a lot of like kobold vibe builds. I think my favorite part was these fake storefronts here. You look inside, it looks like someone's busy at work, right? But then you go in, they're just an image and it's like falling apart. It's a little bit like North Korea. And then there's some underground, cells. It is funny. So all the storefronts are like fakes. They're literally fronts. You see people inside all happy. You see some goods. Here we have a cheesemonger. But it looks like a trap. So you go inside, you fall in, you are now a prisoner. Too funny, right? So many kobolds. They're here for their daily gruel. Token's too tall. I'll switch to a kobold here to be able to get through. That's the hope. No! A little bit too much meat. There's like a whole empire here underground. But yeah, like, if they're capturing people in their fake stores, makes you wonder. Probably have to roll for initiative, huh? Hey, Roll Monster, how you doing? Welcome, welcome. But yeah, this map is a little brutal, not gonna lie. It's a beautiful build though, Chim. You did a great job, and I love how you left this open. So it's kind of got that isometric view where you can kind of peer in and see everything you did without impunity. Love the improvisational woodwork. Hey, Polaris, welcome back. Hope you're having a good day yourself. Yeah, Chim always has very fun, original ideas. Let's find the plaque. Where's the plaque? I didn't find it earlier. I probably should have. There it is. The Chop Shop. I was going to watch it later today. I usually watch it after the stream. I don't watch it when I'm judging, as we've discussed before. I like to kind of make my own impressions of what I'm judging. That being said, love it. Fantastic build. These kobolds have a little bit of an empire here. Alrighty. The last map is Lalandra's. Used horse dealership, right? It would have been a good sister business to the chop shop, right? Oh, nice, DM Randall. By the way, during the stream, if you have questions, you're welcome to ask questions, and we provide real-time support during the streams. Today's stream, we just happen to be showcasing maps from our bi-weekly map-making contest called the Dam Challenge, where our community members are encouraged to make maps following a set theme in a set amount of time and submitting the map before the deadline. Winners get a $10 Hero Forge gift card, and we try to feature every map entered in the contest. There is a landing space down here for like dragons and airships, like a dock. Yeah, the little tiny village down here below gives you a kind of an idea of scope. Keep in mind, these are just like really tiny objects, war table houses. So they're not actual buildings like these. This is forced perspective, i.e. making something seem farther away by changing its size. This also feels gargantuan by comparison. The fact that it has docking for like dragons, drakes, airships, you know what I mean? Some sort of crazy arcane engine driving all these vast. Ooh, never noticed the helm before. Like a cool airship for sure. You got dropped off on the roof. For sure, I'm sure someone could do that too. Why not? Oh. Right? Right, random ladybird? Okay. Let's dive through each of these levels one at a time. Then we're going to wrap up the Dam Challenge segment. So, up top in the shop, we have a little library study area, right? A couple of them. The outdoor balcony, which we've already seen, looks very cool. The dragon topiaries. Looks like some staffs, wands, magical cloaks, fabric, etc. Honestly, it has been such a fun challenge for sure. A lot of people brought their A game, and it was very hard for me to pick a winning map. All these little magical oddities, curiosities. Here we have bags of hag's teeth. And of course, your eldritch nightmares are in this corner here. So it seems like prison is the winner, unless I'm mistaken. Let's go ahead and end the vote. What's the count at right now, Atlam? Okay, let's go down a level. Excuse me. I think this was my favorite level because you have this lovely, like, mezzanine balcony area with the dual stairs, the lovely fountains. Yeah, it looks like prison is the winner. Prisoner is the winner. So prison it is. I mean, here we have a lovely little potion shop. More books. Books. Just all the magical items you could think of. And as a traveling shop, they could go anywhere instead of waiting for people to come to them. This right here is very pretty, though. I loved this portion of the build. Like this whole area. The lighting, it just pops. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't it feel so warm and interesting and inviting? Almost feels like a casino, even. Like a grand open entrance. Lalandra, I loved what you did. And also, I will say, I did notice, like, the crosshatch floor work here. Like, you got different color tiles and wood. That isn't easy to do, because these are all technically separate rooms. If I'm not mistaken, that's how you've done it. That's a room, that's a room, that's a room, that's a room. Every time the floor pattern changes, it's another room. You know, the walking coach, you know what it reminds me of? Yeah, the palanquin, the animated palanquin. It reminds me of, there's like a palanquin like this in, what is it? I feel like it's, is it in Beauty and the Beast? Like, they have the thing that, like, delivers mail or something for them, and it's an automated palanquin. Lalandra, yours was definitely a heavy contender as well. It was fun. The lighting was interesting. The design, top to bottom, very cool. I love, like, the layout. You use the space very effectively. Little central stair there with, like, the teleports. Little observation deck. Oh, why not, Anani? Gonna be busy, my friend? This looks really good, though. You did a great job. Alrighty. We're moving on from the damn challenge, unfortunately, which it's been an absolute blast to cover today. Okay, so next we have Dungeon Alchemist Q&A. During that time, I'm just going to pull up my map from Mapmaker Monday. We'll leave it up. Actually, you know what? No, we won't pull up mine. We'll pull up the winner's map from the damn challenge. So we'll pull up Highland Lass's map. Hopefully she comes back into the stream. Or she comes into the stream and can check it out. So many good maps, and guess what? We're all the better for it, because each of you in our community can now access all these maps on the workshop. Simply search shop or damn challenge and shop, and you'll find them, or sort by most recent. Anyway. Yeah, the light filters had to be adjusted when we went into Fun with Objects. I think part of the reason was to compensate for multi-level, because if they were too intense, it would like bleed through or something. I know, I can't remember 100% if that's the reason, but it's something akin to that. That or they updated the lighting system entirely. And that was part of the changes. So Volkahar, remember though, you don't have to rely on the, external lighting to get lighting like that. Now, you could supplement it with abstract lighting, which is much brighter, right? So you could set this to purple, make it very vibrant, or kind of just a little bit on the side. But these lights are invisible upon export or when you're in first person or cinematic views. So they just add extra lighting to the whole thing. It might have initially when it was added, but I don't think so anymore. I thought they fixed that. However, I usually wait to do abstract lighting till the end. Like effects and abstract lights are something I add at the end. You should give it a shot, my friend. Just see if it works for you. Because like back in the day when people wanted to do Underdark, they would like add candles to the mushrooms to make them all light up. Don't need to do that anymore. You use abstract lights. So now you can make the whole tunnel light up with that distinct purple glow across the whole spectrum of it just by adding abstracts all over. And you could set one of them to the color and then copy that across all of them using the copy properties feature. So like, let's say I wanted all these, let's assume these are all abstract lights and I wanted them all purple and like this bright, right? So I control copy when I have the object selected. Notice it said object properties copied. Control V, just drag it across the whole area. If there are abstract lights when you do this, what the heck just happened? That didn't seem to work at all. Did I actually copy it? Huh, it does work, but not on the other floors. No, it did work. Okay, I just made a mistake. Or it bugged out. But anyway, so you could have all your abstracts done and added and then just change them all at once, but it is also nice to copy off the original. So let's say you have a map that's like all lit up for daytime and you want it lit up for nighttime instead, right? So let's say this map was set for daytime and you wanted to convert it to nighttime for like, sales or something. I don't know. Any number of reasons you may want to do that. Or it's like your players came back through there later at a different time and it was night, right? So yeah, you could set the night filters or whatever. That's a thing you can do. But a lot of times the lighting outside is different than it is during the day, right? During the day, usually you wouldn't have a bunch of lamps on and lanterns on. So let's say you wanted to turn off a bunch of things en masse. You could turn off one and then you just do Control C or Command C if you're on Mac, and then Control V, and then it gives you this thing to drag across the map. So you could just disable all the lighting at once. This is a great way to open and close all doors, enable or disable all lighting, disable or enable all animated objects simultaneously. It essentially, if an object is similar, it will transfer that property to it. Other ways this can be used, like let's say you change the color of an object, right? Say I made this black. While the object's selected, I copy it and then paste it. Now all those are black. Excuse me. Can we get the wiki reference for this copy object properties and share them the link too so they could check it out after the stream? but it can be used in a number of different ways. And the reason we opted to apply Control-C, Control-V to objects in this way instead of copying the object was because there was more to an object than just the object itself. There's the properties of objects in DA as well. So we needed to use that for that feature. Okay, moving on. We're going to leave this map open and we're just going to vibe with it, okay? So Q&A, keep those challenges or those questions coming. I'm going to change the graphic really quick. If you have any Dungeon Alchemist related inquiries, whether it's a quick question or a deep dive into support, whether you're new or you've been on the stream dozens of times, anyone can ask a question. That's what I'm here for. While we're waiting for another question to come in, I do have some from our Steam platform. This one's from Stitch the Wiz. Can my friends and I work on a map as a team, like simultaneously? I want to use this, create super professional map for an RPG game, but if I could gather more people to help me, it'd be amazing. So technically yes and technically no. You can't work on it together simultaneously. You can only work on it essentially one at a time. We call this, it's essentially like hot potato. We call it hot damn, because when you save a map in Dungeon Alchemist, it's saved as a .dam file. Anyone with a copy of Dungeon Alchemist can work on that DAM file. If you share a map with your friend and they have a copy of Dungeon Alchemist, they can open it and make adjustments, send it to you. You can open it, make it adjustments. Unfortunately, though, only one of you can be working on it at a time. If you both are working on the map and send each other a different file, then that is just the new map. Unfortunately, there's no way to merge them or overwrite the other one. Essentially, it's just one or the other. So it's best to, if you start working on the map, set the framework, save it, then give your friend a copy of that map, and then they work on it, and you don't work on it until they're done, and they save it and send it to you. In the future, who knows? There may be cloud-based, support or multiplayer building, but I don't think that's anything the devs have ever really talked about in that regard. So unfortunately, I don't know if there really is a future with that at this time. Next question. Oh, honestly, we have other people kind of commenting on this in our streams. Volkahar says collaborative build would be crazy. Wicker, so Jack says hot damn, nice. Yeah, so hot damn is what we kind of applied to it as like a fun nickname. We've done it on stream, and a few streamers in our community do it as well, where they'll be working on maps together collaboratively at the same time, right? But all of them are, like, I've seen 4 different streamers do this as a group, and each of them are working on a map. And then they rotate and pass it to each other. So after like a half hour, they pass it to the other person. So technically you could continue working, but it's not like your original map is being worked on simultaneously by a bunch of different people. They're passing it around and working on it a little bit at a time. So essentially these people were like each working on a map and then passed it to each other and then rotated until like an hour or 2 had passed. It was pretty neat. Okay, next. This is from Zerngabel on Steam. Is there any way to rotate objects like crosses, doors, like allow every access to be rotated? Not currently. It's not a stock feature at the moment. The only access you can rotate on are the ones you're familiar with, which are, like this. Or if you disable object collisions, you can then raise and lower objects on the Z-axis. Unfortunately, at this time, there isn't a way to rotate an object on any axis. That being said, our devs have been working on this quite a bit, and it should be incorporated in our next major update, Fun with Objects Part 2. Unfortunately, I don't necessarily have a for sure date on that. But I do have like a teaser I can show you really quickly. of this in action. Essentially, the devs are working on like a UI that allows simplicity and allows you to rotate objects even when they're stacked on each other. So in the future, you can, essentially rotate an object and flip over a table on the floor, or, make a mess in a room, etc. This will be available hopefully before the end of the year. As of right now, they're kind of prototyping it, testing it, developing the UI. Okay. Next question. Did we get any other questions in chat? Oh yeah, let's update the damn challenge theme. Because yes, we did get a winning choice, I should say. Oops. Oh, nice. It's fun seeing you three collaborate. That's really cool. Okay, next question comes from Steam. Dro Silver asks, I'm curious if there will be an option to select multiple objects at a time to adjust size or move, as well as the option to group them into a singular object. Okay, I'm going to answer this question first. They have another question. I may not be able to address it at this time. Let's see here. Right now, that's something the devs are investigating and trying to develop. For the most part, I can't speak to when. They're hoping to have it available for the next major update, Fun with Objects 2, before the end of the year. That being said, I haven't seen a demo of this, so I can't speak to it for sure. They don't really have it working yet. So if anything, they have some prototypes and some ideas and some code. You know what I mean? What we do have currently, though, that you can kind of do. Oh, by the way, thank you for the follows in the last 5 minutes. Wumsicle and Kalua the Rogue on Twitch. Much appreciated. Moving back to the question here at hand. My apologies for that sidetrack. An object that is stacked on another object, like these tables here, with all the objects on them, they move as a unit, and they can be resized as a unit. So anything stacked on top of something else, like anything on a rug or on a piece of furniture, or if the furniture was placed as a unit, like a pre-decored variant, like these tables were, where all the chairs were placed with them and all the objects, then they can be moved as a solid unit already. In the future, they're hoping to allow you to group objects, lasso them together, and essentially be able to move them or copy them. Even save that grouping of objects so you can stamp it somewhere else on the map or other maps, or even share that grouping of objects on the workshop so other people can use it. Does that make sense? That, though, I don't know when that will happen for sure. As of right now, I hope the next update, but it could very easily be sometime after that. Okay, next question is from Goobs on Steam. I use Dungeon Alchemist in conjunction with a projector for my games. Is there any plans for adding Fog of War mechanics to DA, or will that strictly stay as a map builder? Would love a secondary mode once the map is finished with mechanics like Fog of War. My friend, what you're looking for is a virtual tabletop. So Dungeon Alchemist is first and foremost a map making tool, right? Its primary focus is building maps and then exporting those maps for however you want to play. So there's a numerous export options we offer currently. Print is a main, thing that people do. Another one is people will export the map as a digital file and take it to a print shop, or use it on a digital tabletop, like a TV tabletop or a projector like you do. That said, though, that lacks Fog of War, like you mentioned. So what people do is they pair it with a tool called a virtual tabletop, okay? So virtual tabletops, some of them cost, some of them are free. They all vary in quality and function and ease of use. We offer support for numerous virtual tabletops. And what virtual tabletops are is a piece of software that our map exports and plugs into. And typically that map also includes data for like walls, windows, lighting, doors, line of sight, etc. So when you plug the map in, it has all that information, and then their tool facilitates gameplay, dice rolls, moving tokens around, line of sight, fog of war, etc. Now, I know it's a bummer to have to learn another tool, but as a DM, often you have multiple tools you have in your tool belt to succeed in the level of production you want to offer. So if you want Fog of War on a projector tabletop at this time, with what's available that can work with Dungeon Alchemist, a virtual tabletop is the best option. There are free options out there, like Above VTT is free. Fantasy Grounds now is free. Some cost, like Foundry is a one-time fee for a lifetime license. Roll20 has a free option where you can just import an image, but then it doesn't have the data for Fog of War and Line of Sight. They have a paid option to support that. So every company is a little bit different. That said, after Dungeon Alchemist has delivered on all its stretch goals and has left early access, we plan to offer essentially what is like a VTT Lite. I don't think it'll ever be built into Dungeon Alchemist because that's just a bunch of feature creep, and it may cause it to run really slow or poorly with all that extra stuff in it that wasn't really intended for it. But a standalone separate program that works in conjunction with Dungeon Alchemist and is designed around it specifically for it, and the maps made in it might be a little bit better approach. That would probably even be its own independent Kickstarter sometime after we've, delivered on all our stretch goals and have started on our expansions for Dungeon Alchemist. That is a great suggestion, Volkahar. A map maker in our Twitch chat just suggested, Goobs, that you could, in fact, make two versions of the map. So one with, everything revealed and one without it. So it's like, as they are seeing new areas or if they find a new space, then you load that new map instead. So instead of them being able to see everything in front of them without Fog of War present, you load them into new zones, kind of like a load screen acts as Fog of War. DM Crusader, which VTT is it that you said you use? Is it Foundry, right? Tropism, that's a really good question, and it really just depends on your perspective. Like, if you want something free, Above VTT is great, because a lot of players use D&D Beyond, or a lot of DMs use it already to facilitate, like, character creation, dice rolls, stuff like that, for even in-game play, right? But then Above VTT syncs in with all of the monster stat blocks and the character sheet, so they can roll right from their character sheet in their D&D Beyond app, and then it sends it to Above VTT. Now, the problem is, typically, though, they all have independent vision, and if you have a shared table where they can all see each other's tokens, that's problematic. I don't know if Above VTT offers support, like a module or plugin or add-on that supports singular shared vision. So that could be problematic. But, like, for instance, Foundry, okay? Foundry is a paid tool. It's a one-time fee for a lifetime license. I believe it's $50 at this time. But they have third-party module support. So a lot of community members build add-ons that are like a simple download. They have a little store built in for you to browse them and download them. And one of the modules I've seen is for local TV tabletop play. It's like a shared vision or a shared token vision. So even though if all the players are like kind of moved around, they all share a singular tokens vision. That might even be a default setting in Foundry now. It's been so long since I've checked. But when you're playing in person, there's slightly different things to consider than when you're playing online, where everybody has their own token and their own vision, right? When you're playing in person, you want to make considerations for that and make sure no one's seeing what they shouldn't see. Typically, shared vision is the best way to go about it, though. Good little question, though, Tropism. from our chat, and then we have another question from chat from Pike over on YouTube. How many Kickstarter stretch goals are left to implement? So there's the other half of Fun with Objects, because it got split in two because it was so big, right? And then according to our Kickstarter, beyond that, there's 4 major stretch goals remaining. Okay? You have, and then this is in no particular release order, it's just the names of them. So obviously Fun with Objects Part 2, right? Tricks and Traps, Water Worlds, High Seas, and Instant Dungeon. Or Instant Dungeons, I should say. Oh, excuse me. Kind of lost my balance there. High Seas update is arguably one of our most anticipated update. Water Worlds also very highly anticipated. Instant Dungeon, I think there's a lot of palpability and anticipation for that one as well. Tricks and Traps, I think some people could take it or leave it. I think, you know, it would be neat to add a bunch of trick and trap and animations and effects in a singular update, and then maybe even offer transparent exports as part of that, because that would pair very well with it for making tiles, right? For, like, you know, exports of a singular object that moves and does things, an opening of a chest or a trap activating, etc. Anyway, moving on. Last question from Steam, and we'll keep answering questions from chat if they keep coming in. This one's from Elka Khan. They ask, have you considered adding options for generating boats or forest roads? That's a big contrast of different things. For battle, the board on the boat, ship, barge, etc. For battle against bandits attacking a caravan. So I will say this, forest roads, you can do that already. You can do city and forest roads with relative ease. I'll show you that while we discuss the other thing, which is ships, boats. So right now, boats are heavily reliant on the Steam Workshop, but there are dozens, if not hundreds, of examples of boat maps where it's a large ship, vessel, waterborne, airship, astral ship. They all exist on the workshop in some capacity, which is right here. If you click the Steam Workshop and click Browse Assets and just type like ship or boat, you're bound to find hundreds of examples of ships you can just download and use. Now, these aren't like, you know, designed where you can go to individual levels. Some people have built boats that do that. We'll cover that momentarily. You are interested in making forest roads, though. So the terrain tool here, you have terrain swatches, and you can paint a dirt road, which follows the meandering nature of this, you know, forest. You know, so it's just kind of a path that was trod and became a road. If you need to clear up, you know, some of this stuff on top of it, which is very easy, we can use our object eraser, clean up this path a little bit so it doesn't look like it's got weeds all over it. But that's one type of simple road using dirt paths. Depending on your biome, there's different dirts or sands available to you. You can mix and match them, you know, so it kind of feels like it's got a little bit of a different texture here and there. That's pretty easy to do. If you want a nice straight path going through like a forest, go to the village room type, select alley, and then just disable under the settings tab here, everything but flooring, okay? Then you can draw yourself like a path. I'm gonna actually turn this a little bit. Seems like a nice straight road going through the forest here. At an angle, of course. Sorry, I'm just having a little bit of fun with this. So let's say I just wanted a road going through the forest, like someone had made a nice cobblestone road. So this here, oh, it extended the map out, but you get the idea. It would essentially make a cobblestone road that can go through the forest. I can keep extending this. If I wanted, I could make turns in it. going different directions or have intersections if you wanted to. You could have this 3 wide, you could have this 2 wide, you could do 1 wide. Now, the cobblestone pavers work great, but if you're away from civilization, you have natural options, you know, so like dark stamped earth. It just kind of looks like a dirt road in the middle of nowhere. You could add like playa. That, though, is a very repeating pattern. It becomes kind of unpleasant to look at over time, I feel like. But there's lots of different paved or like dirt paths that you can use, both that look very structured and maintained and others that don't, using either the terrain paints or the room generation tools with just only benefiting from the floor aspects. No objects, no walls, no windows, no doors. So that answers that. As far as generating boats, I would recommend looking in the map section of the workshop and look for some boats. There's quite a few that have been made and shared and have quite a bit of options. Some are harbors, some are like fully built boats. All of them work really well within the current dynamics of what's available in Dungeon Alchemist. Unfortunately, though, at this time, there is no ship builder that's like stock. It's a lot of objects, a lot of kit bashing, making it from scratch, okay? Like this one here, the Krieg's Revenge is a great example that's been, that's on the workshop. I saw this one being used on a stream the other day on Twitch, and it's multiple tiers with like below decking and stuff. Ultimately, a ship will be addressed in 2 parts. In the High Seas update, we plan to have like a ship builder in mass that can, I'm hoping, build all types of ships. Not just water ships, but airships and astral ships. And then lastly, there will be a miniature kind of ship builder in Fun with Objects 2 that is a modular object kind of implementation that allows you to essentially kind of snap together a bunch of objects to make cool little basic ships. We saw some demonstrations of this before Fun with Objects launched. Unfortunately, I don't have any of the demo videos anymore. I got rid of all that stuff because I only have so much storage space on my work drive. So at this time, I don't have any way to share it with you, but I do know that that will be implemented in part 2 of the Fun with Objects update. So it'll be like a little basic ship builder to get us by. DM, what are you trying to do exactly? DM Crusader, can you explain like what your end game here is? I mean, I'm downloading a 0.5 gigabyte of stuff, but yeah, you'd think it'd be much faster. Part of the reason is it's not one big massive zipped file with all these different assets in it. It's dozens of individual downloads, one at a time, that each need to be opened, downloaded, and verified. So it takes forever because Steam's archaic old kind of download process. Even though you may have a powerful, like really high-speed internet and a good, computer, it still is going to be slowed down by the weakest link in the chain, which is Steam doesn't have a simplified process for sharing multiple files like this. I still don't understand what you're trying to do, Crusader. Okay, a highlight between 2 different areas, so you just want like a little line separating them, like a graphical line? Or you want a physical object that breaks up these two spaces, like a wall. What I would recommend is in post, in your in a photo editor, after you've exported your video or your image of your map, then you could go in and add the line there in post in like an image editor like Photoshop or GIMP. That being said, I hope that's exactly what you're trying to do, is just like, hey, you wanted to split this in two and there would be a line right here. Yeah, there really isn't any graphical elements to that degree in Dungeon Alchemist. Like, you can maybe use an abstract, but you'd have to string a ton of them together to get that to work. Like, you could insert any image you want into this, a simple line in the center or a full image. So to give you an idea, like any of the negative space, like in a PNG, for instance, like this is added in as an image to the design, but you see there are lines in this. So technically you could have just like a solid black bar line or a thin one, and then add them using, abstract images. But it would have to be made in a graphic program, the line itself first, and then you could import it using these. Or you could do it in post in the graphic program, if I understand what you're trying to do correctly. I'm sorry if I'm misunderstanding you there. Sometimes things get lost in text, and it's hard to understand fully what you're trying to accomplish. So you draw a line in the image on your VTT being like, hey, look at this, or you're pointing out something like in game, right? That's what you're trying to do? Or like an arrow highlighting something or circling something. I'm assuming just like a paint tool. Or is that more in line with what you were trying to do? Because a lot of times that would be VTT end for sure. Or in like Teams or, any of those tools. But those abstract planes can be used in a variety of different ways. Any image you can insert into this can be something. Here's like a template for measuring, right? So we could get this out to, the size of a square, a 5-foot square, and use this. Man, I'm sorry, I DM Crusader. I wish I had a better answer for you. Alrighty, let's move on from the question segment today. We're going to move on to features. We're going to discuss tokens. Or the damn workshop segment. Sorry, we're going to discuss tokens. Leave this ship up while we're discussing it, because it's epic. But this was made in almost entirely by hand. Some of it's room, but a lot of it is objects placed meticulously, one at a time. So it wasn't like something that was done in 5 minutes. It's more like a 5 to 20-hour build. No worries, Crusader. Sorry, I wish I could help more. But remember, future questions, hopefully I'll get it better next time. So, Dungeon Alchemist has token support, right? Meaning we have a bunch of tokens built in that you could take advantage of. Some from our partnership with Bite the Bullet, which they, add new tokens every update, starting a couple updates ago with the Magic update, and they've been adding them since. And then we have our partnership with Hero Forge, our licensing agreement with them, which essentially allows you to import tokens that you've created on Hero Forge into Dungeon Alchemist. So if you've, purchased any tokens on Hero Forge from their packs or made tokens, if you purchase the token as a 3D digital export, then it can link then it can link with our Dungeon Alchemist directly and allow you to import your tokens. So like this here, this token is actually a character that used to be my wife's in an old campaign. She was a Harangan cleric. So once it's been imported into DA, there is a kind of a weird way to rename it in like the data files. It's not very easy or straightforward. If it's exported as a certain name, it's pretty much almost all but stuck to it unless you edit a text file in the installation folder of Dungeon Alchemist. I don't remember the exact location, but there is a spot where you can see all the Hero Forge tokens and change their names. I know this because I've done it before. Something's wrong with that one. It's like showing a bunch of different tokens here randomly. But like I have a token right here, this one. Yeah, it's currently named Mac Copy, but in the past I've renamed it, but after an update it renamed itself back. But this was a changeling artificer I played at one time. Let me see if I can find this really quick. It's been so long since I've done this Volkahar. So, going to Steam. I see Dungeon Alchemist here. Going to manage, browse local files. It's not in the damn file itself. It's somewhere in the installation for Dungeon Alchemist. I don't know exactly where it is. One second here. I think it's in... here? Stand by 1 second. It's been so long since I've looked for this. Okay, so we go to users, app data, local low, Briganti, Dungeon Alchemist. Models cache right here. So models cache, right? And you go to Hero Forge, and then you got to find the model. Oh, wait, no, it's this text right here. And it says Hero Forge models. I recommend backing up this folder or this file before you do anything, okay? But notice here it says Mac copy, right? There was a... could have sworn I saw one just a moment ago. This one here that says Mac copy, where it says name, if I just changed it, it would fix that problem. I'm going to close DA. And then save this file now that I've changed it. And then reopen DA. See you later, Mandu. It's buried in a random folder. That's the problem there, that we had to find that. I'm making sure this does fix it, though. Look it, we'll go to my tokens, right? Mac. Yep, so no longer called Mac copy with a K, it's MAC. So you can change them. This takes a little bit of work. So, to reiterate, the path you have to follow is on your C drive, right? Then you go to users, select your main user profile on your computer. App data is usually a hidden file, which if you can't see it, you notice how it's like kind of blanked out. App data is gray. If you right click and go to properties, I believe correctly, it's somewhere in here, you can tell it to show hidden folders. Right? Shoot, I can't remember. Yeah, head over to Discord and we can walk you through. But this app data, then you go to roaming, right? Or was it local low? Yeah, local low, my bad. See, I don't do this enough. This isn't part of my job. I don't really dive into this. But now once you're in here, you go to model cache and then Hero Forge. And then in there is a text folder called Hero Forge models, or a text document, a JSON. And then, yeah, you can edit the name of the thing. Keep in mind, if we have an update later, it'll likely undo it. Folder options pushing Alt, thank you. Been so long since I unhid that. Oh. I don't know. Hidden items, that's the one right there. So essentially, from the view tab, actually, if you go to view and just make sure hidden items is checked, it'll show that app data folder. But yep, hidden items right there. So you go into app data. Sorry, I'm not much of a computer repair guy anymore, so don't remember most of this stuff. Local low, Briganti, Dungeon Alchemist, Model Cache, Hero Forge models. That's the path file right there. We copy that as text. Should be able to follow this path to find it. Sorry about that. It's been a while since I've done this. Okay, let's get back to tokens. So on the workshop and in Dungeon Alchemist, you have a variety of tokens. So we got a little sidetracked figuring out how to rename a token from Hero Forge. If you had a silly name of it, like Mac Prototype 3, and then bought that file, it'll be named that when you import it. So this is a way to fix it, right? Anyway, Hero Forge tokens import. Dungeon Alchemist also has an assortment of basic tokens kind of included that we got from Hero Forge. So even if you don't have any purchase tokens, you'll get a few. Lastly, you can download tokens from the workshop. And if you've downloaded any maps that have tokens in them, they'll be here. And they'll have this little download icon on them, that little cloud with a down arrow in it. But if you want to download tokens from the workshop yourself, you can click Steam Workshop tab in the top here. Oh, where's my mouse highlighter no longer working? Stand by. Click Steam Workshop, go to Browse Assets. Then you go to Tokens on the side, right? Once you click Tokens, you can sort by characters, monsters, and NPCs. Currently, there is like 1,000 tokens available on the workshop. You have over 500 monsters, 533 monsters, 364 what is it? NPCs. So that's like, almost 900 there. And 195. So we're definitely over 1,000 now. Some of them are like random sci-fi, modern. Here's like a tank, but the majority of them will be fantasy. Some of them will be simple gray kind of token styles, like they're just a simple token that you printed or bought and haven't painted yet. Others will be full color. Some are even animated. But these tokens are available to anyone who has a full copy of Dungeon Alchemist. You just click Steam Workshop, click Browse Assets, and then sort by tokens by clicking the little pawn chess piece. From here, you can click on the item and download it. That one's rather large. Be careful when you're downloading a token. 21 megabytes. I usually only download items that are like 5 megabytes or less, especially tokens, because I don't want a huge assets taking up tons of space on my map. So we'll download this little villager. Fortunately, the name given to them, Village Calm Hooded Human Hooded Walk, makes it kind of hard to search, I bet. But we could put him on here, and he's just walking along doing his thing. So it adds like, oh, uh-oh. He's on duty. On patrol. Pretty good. Though it looks like, yeah, his box is right here, so you like have to remember where you put him. But anyway, like I said, some tokens are animated, so it's pretty neat to add them into your maps when they do stuff like this. Bring them to life quite a bit. Alrighty. So, remember, folks, you can import Hero Forge tokens if you link your account, which we have a tutorial on our YouTube. Can we get the Hero Forge info dropped in chat really quick? Someone just type Hero Forge. That should drop the link. Or is it just HF? There we go, Hero Forge. That YouTube video walks you through integrating your Hero Forge account and what you need to do to bring over models you've created there. Yeah, I'll check it after stream to see if I can fix it. Unfortunately, again, I didn't get into cameras and perspectives because the damn challenge ran long, so we'll move that into the next stream. But remember, everyone, when it comes to tokens, you have at least 1,000 or more at your disposal available within Dungeon Alchemist and within the workshop. So at your fingertips quite a bit. And if there isn't a token that you need specifically, you always can use the Asset Importer, which is a very, very valuable tool. It allows you to import custom 3D models into your maps. So for instance, here is a model of my dog, Seymour, so I can put him in my maps, and other people have used them in their maps. Highland Lass had a copy of him in her map earlier today. So it's a fun way to insert custom objects, custom tokens. You can use the Asset Importer to, if you have any type of 3D, 3D modeling or 3D sculpting skill, you can use that to your advantage to make custom objects to bring them into Dungeon Alchemist. For your personal use, i.e. local use only, or you can share them on the workshop publicly or with your friends, or even just put them on the workshop as a cloud backup and keep them private. That way you have a copy of them always. Okay, thank you everyone for participating today. The stream has ran a little bit long, so we're going to wrap it up. But I appreciate each and every one of you for hanging out. Again, my name is Mac, the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. Dungeon Alchemist is available on Steam. We offer a free demo that allows you to try Dungeon Alchemist out before you buy. Let you install it on your computer, kind of give it a little test drive with your current hardware to see if it runs for you and if you might enjoy the style of tool. That demo is available on Steam for anyone who may be curious. Remember also, if you have questions while the stream isn't live, you can ping us in our Discord 24 hours a day. We have a question forum and a support forum there. We also share events about upcoming streams and other things in our community so you can see when our next streams might be if you want to tune in and ask questions during a live stream. Speaking of that, our next stream is Monday. That is Mapmaker Monday. We'll be building a map live and working on this particular build, which is called The Last Drop. It is a souvenir and general store that is at an oasis at the edge, you know, in the Badlands, but it's the last place for hundreds and hundreds of, you know, miles in any direction. So it's a good place to rest, get water, get supplies, etc. We started working on this last Monday, and it's already coming along here. I kind of laid out the framework of the structure. Next, so Monday we'll be adding like windows, pillars, support beams, and then I'm going to start decorating the interior, which is going to be coming up soon. So we have a little kind of bottom level here with like a cellar and stables. Then you go up a floor. This will be our sort of general store. Up a floor here will be a tavern and inn. And then up top will be like an observation deck. Kind of like a patio, whatever. Anyway, thanks everyone for tuning in. Again, my name is Mac, the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. I'm going to run a quick Dungeon Alchemist themed ad and then we're going to wrap up the stream. Thank you again, everyone, for being here. Hopefully we see you back Monday. If not, we'll be back next Saturday with our next Dungeon Alchemist map making show. Quick reminder, we have a guest next Saturday. That is Remy, one of our moderators, Remy Martin, who has been with us, you know, since before I was part of the team. She's very passionate about Dungeon Alchemist and our community. Very excited to have her on. And she's very, very intelligent, knows a lot of stuff about Dungeon Alchemist. Quick news. Or no, Remy's at the end of the month. Sorry. February 28th. The 14th is with Geronimo. So the next two interviews, we've got 14th Geronimo, my interview, my dinner with Geronimo on Valentine's Day. Sorry for the mix-up there. And then the 28th, end of the month, is our interview following that one with Remy. So thank you. Sorry about the confusion there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Great lineup. And I've been kind of slowly reaching out to people to try add more and more people to the lineup and find dates that work. It's tricky, but I don't want to get too far out, you know, like more than a couple of months out or more than a month out. But at least anyway, just keep in mind, I've got, you know, people in mind and I'll be reaching out to you one at a time when it is your time. Okay. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We're going to run that quick ad and wrap up the stream. Mac out. Bye. Go ahead and mute this music.
But can it handle curves?
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 Dungeon Alchemist, the AI-powered map-making application for role-playing games, now comes with both round and diagonal walls. Create amazing professional maps for your players in seconds. Get it now on the Steam store.